Hi everybody, it's Jess, and we're here taking a look at alphaDrive1's Freak Alarm dance practice. We have reviewed the live cam version out of, sensitivity to not sure when they recorded this dance practice, if it was post Arno, before Arno's injury, not sure, but wanted to look there, and also just kind of share some thoughts and overall composition. So I'm ready, I hope you are. Let's go ahead and go.
Second we walk in, everybody know. Got the place popping, do it at the sound. I'm gonna hit them, I'm gonna hit them.
Oh, we got all 8. Okay. Nice. I bet they were really thankful to have filmed it as early as they did. Oh, that was nice. That was a really good gesture from Song 1 there. It helped us really see him. Ah, nice. This is all the way the freak out, man. Which, it's a freak alarm. Way cleaner there. That was cool. Eyes on you. Yep. Nice. Yep. That's nice. Good gesture there. Yep. Yep. Did they stall that? Click, click, click. That's cool. Yep. With the breathing. Woo! Okay, yeah, full out. There's one part here that I do want to look at. It's right before the bridge. That's fine. It's a stall or interruption right here. That's cool. That's cool because it's not just a rotation. They interrupted the flow. Stop it. That was cool. Yes, way cleaner. I also think the gestures that the members are doing, and I'm saying this across the board, really contribute to helping us find them. So whenever you do have a composition or you have a choreography where you have a lot of people entertaining similar levels, which is what you see a lot of times in the course, which is fine if you're able to still clock the feature in an effective way. Does part of it come from, can the choreographer make it easier for the audience to find them? Yes, but can the member also create a way to captivate, not just through doing the movement with the stage presence that they have, but providing a unique perspective of it so we see that they're different than everybody else doing it if it's uniform and unison. That's the charm of really synchronized groups, is that they can be so subtle but really clean. One person can deviate and you can immediately see who is the feature or who is the focus. That can be a good thing, and that can also be a bad thing if you make a mistake, right? So in general, I really, really like the fullness that they're able to show here that they can't really do on a live performance. Super great. Like, I'm really a fan of that. Now, we've already done a full review of the choreography itself. I will stand behind my notes I gave to it for we could have more opportunities to have more levels in those verses. However, I really do like the intensity and the fullness of this here in a way that adds more charm to the overall dance. We are going to look at an OT7 version of this because I had a lot of you guys ask me to do that. So we're going to go ahead and check it out. Okay, I believe I found one. This is from 115.26. And what is it? It's by M2, and so far so good on the M2 channel, uploads. So we're gonna take a look here. Since we just looked at an OT8. Oh, we did it. Okay. They are in their fits with the wings that Anshin's got. Yeah. You know who I want to see Junso collab with, if ever the opportunity arises? Suho from EXO. They give me similar vibes. What about it? Don't know. But I just think about that often when I watch him. Yep. Yeah. So we just don't have a level on that session. Yep. Okay. Yep. So, really, like, some of the common, like, immediate differences I see, of course, is this very beginning here, right? Where you have, it's just 2 people over here and 3 here. And then I was able to actually clock this situation a lot easier because we don't have it like a multiple people branching out that creates, like, there was a space opening, so I was naturally looking there, so I was able to clock this more, which I think it is what it is. I don't think, I mean, it does look like Shinlong has taken over some of the formation spots that Arno was in. Specifically, I think it was right before the bridge, like this part right here is what I noticed, because I always notice the isolation that you see A certain part there. Yeah, right here. Yeah, normally Arno's there. But I also really like the fact that we looked away. That's fun. I wish that it's not a wishful thing. I think it's interesting because everybody looks front. I think if everybody looked away except for Gonu, it'd be a lot easier for us to be like, he's our feature and everybody's still contributing in movement, and he wouldn't have to deviate and do something special or extra for us to clock him. Now, granted, he is, center back, so you can just use context there, but yeah, he hits it there, which is cool. So we hit boom, boom, boom with the pull down. Cool. And then we also see the interruption a little bit better here. Boom, but I think they really nailed it in that dance practice for sure. I'm trying to think what else. This one has more symmetry and more balance, and no one's covered up. How this one feels, it feels complete in composition, even though we all know it's not complete because we don't have all the members. But how a choreography should feel is like this, where I get to see the overall framing of everything and not feel like I'm missing something. Because when you think about it, when you have somebody prolonged in the back, it's yes for the sense of environmental saturation, but at what cost? For some people, which is very fair, if the dance itself and the concept itself calls for that type of function, then do it, for sure, especially if it's going to prompt depth and completeness and symmetry. But we have to, it's a fine line though. If you continue to do this, where you have somebody intentionally covered on a survival show group, that's my specific note to it, then what ends up happening is that it looks like a cop-out or a lazy way to choreograph. I'm being very honest with that. Because we've seen groups operate without that being, being an issue. Boy Next Door has improved that. Astro is the prime example that I will give as the day is long for somebody who I have never seen an Astro choreo. And I can say this because I've seen a lot of it. All the ones I've seen, not a single one has looked like we are intentionally covering up somebody the way that I've seen on some Gen 5 even number groups. I'm being very frank there. And so it's possible. And it dives into the beauty of the charm, and it makes the routine as a whole more creative because you can recognize and appreciate it. Does that make sense? But also, I understand if you're making a routine for camera, which a lot of routines are like that, then do that because you're going to have a camera shot that's always going to factor in that person. I think that's kind of like my general thing with that. I like the OT7 look because of how it's framed, not because we're missing Arno. That's not at all. Like, I'm really sad about that. But I wish that we had this type of, yes, this feels complete, this feels cool, this feels balanced. You're able to see a lot of the charms of the dance. Like, all that was really cool. There is something that I do remember, though. Like, everybody's leaned back. It does show that Arno was filling in a space here by going lower on the level, right? So it does look like a fun little group. It's cute, but also this was needed, and I really appreciate Arno's contribution to this section in particular, right? So, like I said, we've already kind of gone through the dance, so I don't know if there's really too much to dive into, and I don't have all the members memorized in their places, so it would be really hard, personally, to really know. Oh, this is a big one. Okay. So they end up making this change here. Angshan comes from the back. I knew that felt different, but it works so well here. I hope they make it a permanent change even when Arno comes back, because they have Angshan coming from the side. Look at this. Look at this. Yes, we need that for sure. This looks fantastic. Why didn't we do that to begin with, if I'm being honest? I will say, to the defense of those who choreograph, like myself, sometimes when you choreograph something and then a situation happens and you have to reblock it, you sometimes end up coming up with better formations based on where you've had to move people. It happens. So I'm not dogging. Keep in mind too, I'm not being critical. I'm not being like, what's their problem? No, it's at the end of the day, I really like the changes, the enhancements, but I also am very sad that we don't have a full lineup for this particular promotion all the way through, but I'm really happy we got what we got at least, so he can at least rest and we get to see a OTA perspective of it. Now, hopefully, Arno's able to rest and get healed up and not start too early, because I know there's a good chance he's going to want to start promoting and dancing before he's ready. I hope that he is forced to properly rest so he can actually have a really long, healthy career in this space, because that can get gnarly pretty fast if you're not watchful of your condition. But I really like how this looks. Because look, even Junso ends up filling in the space right there. That's really fun. The knock it back is nice. Hit. It's cool. Yep, and now I know a lot of you guys are like, Jess, tell me about this member, or tell me, have they improved? The answer is going to be yes. Everyone's improved. It always happens for every comeback. I'm not going to do another fan cam journey until they are four comebacks in. So it'll most likely be like a year from now. Because unless they are busy and they come up with lots of stuff, which is good. So it gives like a year check-in if you think about it. So we got 3 more comebacks, not tracks, 3 more comebacks. And then we will be able to do a movement progression, because that's where you can see true progress. So it's going to take time, but we're here for it. But yeah, so if you're going to ask me which one I prefer, in format, I like the OT7 version. When it comes to the actual, group cohesion, I really like the dance practice here. It's probably the best representation of what the dances looked like, because it's super full and it's great. And I really like the change they made with Angshen, where he walks over and then he ends up knocking, right? Yeah, walking across. I'm glad we made that change, but I bet they put Angshen there because in order to make it symmetrical. So that ended up turning functional, which is actually fine. But I really like what ended up happening. Yeah, that's functional because he's frozen. That is an absolutely okay way to cover someone for a functional reason to get him somewhere. So that makes sense, but I really love having him over here. So I will take back what I said of why didn't they do that to begin with? It's because this was a more appropriate method for an OTA formation to get him to go over there. But I love what we ended up seeing, so I'm hopeful that we can figure out a way to keep this visual where he's transitioning from stage right to stage left to Junso, to still make that its own moment. I think that'd be really fun. But anyway, I digress. I do know that a lot of you guys have wanted me to take a look at the Studio CHOOM. I normally do not review Studio CHOOMs because, firstly, it's a copyright thing. Secondly, I personally don't vibe with the Studio CHOOM version, quite simply because the environment never matches the outfits, and it just feels like we just transplanted the dance to a place that the dance wasn't made for. But I know a lot of you guys really want me to look at it, so I guess we'll look at it, but there's a chance it won't be on this YouTube release. So let's go see it. Okay, do we have? We do.
Second we walk in, everybody know. Got the place popping, 동굴 같은 sound. I'm gonna hit them. Second we walk in, everybody know. Got the place popping, 동굴 같은 sound. I'm gonna hit the freak alarm. I'm gonna hit the freak alarm. Second one, jump, 도착하는 floor. 나를 봐, jump, 따라오는 몸. I'm gonna hit the freak alarm. I'm gonna hit the freak alarm.
Always says confidence. In my head, it sounds like got too much coffee. That's a nice charming moment from Sanghyun. Nice. I would say the person who's been the most consistent from how we've seen him start the entire Boys 2 Planet to now is Leo. With how he dances and how he performs. I really appreciate that type of consistency. That's a fun reveal that they did with the camera there.
Give me the show, give me the show, give me the show. We're burning it rocking, everybody know.
Hey.
Got the place popping, 꿈을
Get it
깨는
on.
sound. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit that.
Wow.
I'm gonna hit that. 다가와 점점 커져간 the floor. 나를 봐 점점 날아오는 몸. I'm gonna freak the Lord. I'm gonna freak the Lord. Wild boss, no one can
Great range on the arms there.
this. Try 내도 바로 지켜봐. Breathe up now. 먼저가 거세질 뻔 끝이 없을지 today's the Everybody know, got the place poppin', 꿈을 깨는 sound. I'm gonna freak the Lord. I'm gonna hit the freak the Lord. 다가와 점점 커져가는 floor. 나를 봐 점점 따라오는 몸. I'ma make it hit the freak the Lord. I'ma make it hit the freak the Lord.
Be still, my heart. It wasn't as disconnected as I was expecting. Have I turned a new leaf in how I look at Studio CHOOMs? I wouldn't go that far. But this really does allow for people to get the best of both worlds. You get to see the dance. Of course, some things are covered up for sure that we would prefer on a review, but we can appreciate who's singing what part and how they cater their choices to camera are different. And also certain visuals come out in interesting ways. For example, I think it's the Shinlong Songwon section. That looks like so much more of a surprise than whenever you see it in like a regular fixed cam. So
I can't believe it's the right time.
like that was really cool, and it definitely enhanced the reveal of song one and the partnership here. And then from there, boom, hit, and then we go. Angsin joining in, like all of that was really easy to read compared to in a fixed cam situation. So that's, to another point, sometimes movement is made for certain camera perspectives. And just like in the music video, or if you do performance version, certain things are calibrated. I know Spaghetti by Le Seraphim, they have certain places that are obviously made for the tripod aerial shots, and you can see that in the fixed cam. Here, this translated very well on Studio CHOOM. I think it translated very, very well in a dance practice space, and I think that it was definitely more readable in the live performance compared to previous things I have seen, right? So I'm glad you guys recommended it, so now I can have a redemptive review or a redemptive watch of a Studio CHOOM. And I know you guys are like, Jessica, you're so harsh on him. Well, it's not really that. I think Studio CHOOM, I'm so glad it's here because it does allow people to get to know a group or get to be exposed to somebody through their own viewers, because people follow Studio CHOOM for a certain group, maybe, sure, but there's other groups that they're going to be recommended because they get posted on Studio CHOOM. So I see the benefit of it. I prefer to support the actual channels that these artists are on, which is why most of the time I wait for a dance practice, because the dance practice gets released on the artist channel. So that's really my main thing. And also, I've had more issues with Studio CHOOMs getting blocked than M2s getting blocked, which is surprising, right? So I don't know. But yeah, I enjoy this. I think the fits really help to the environment here too. And it could also be the lighting choices help too, I think, with the spotlight guides and all that. But yeah, in general, these are, I didn't even watch this. I'm so sorry. Y'all are like, Jessica, watch the ending fairies. Fine, I'll watch them. That was cute. The shoulder. That was fun how you had different little outtakes of people trying to be cool and they're like, no, I can't. That was cute. Man, okay. Yeah. This was enjoyable. I mean, I'm sorry if you're one who's you want a lot of reaction. When I watch something for a long time, I really try not to have a false reaction to things. I've seen this dance quite a few times now, and what I'm looking for are very specific things, which causes me to focus. But I am happy that we're looking at these, and if anything, depending on how, if all of this ends up going on YouTube, if Studio CHOOM survives too, then we will, what's the word? I guess we'll consider more Studio CHOOMs depending on the group. I don't know, but it really depends on how much you guys request it. I think I'll go off of that, because if Studio CHOOM has a certain charm to it that really helps with how we review something, I'm totally game for it. You guys know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.